Hey everyone, this is Sandip back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to build a really special, really interesting game which you might have played. I don't know when, but I really like this game. This is more of a multiplayer game called Tic Tac Toe. So this is what we are going to build in Java, and you're going to learn some of the Java concept in this video. So this is a game I'm showing you, there will be a grid here, and then you need to pick a spot. There will be two different players, the X and O. They're going to take different turns, right? And this is how the game is going to build, right? And someone is going to win the game, or either we will have a winner or we can have a game tied. So let's get started. Okay, so we are going to build tic-tac-toe multiplayer game in Java today. So let's look at the objectives. I mean, the goals for this video. What are you going to learn out of finishing this part of the video where we are going to build the game? So you're going to learn 2D arrays, how to create 2D arrays in Java. Obviously, loops, nested loops, functions, how to organize your code into small functions, switch case. So obviously, we are going to use switch case for some of the logic in the game, scanner class for taking the input from the user. So there will be two different users, who are giving input here. And obviously, we're building a game, so you're going to build some logic. So we're going to build this game step by step. But before that, did you know this is one of the tip I wanted to give you? So if you can write the algorithms in plain English, it becomes really easy to write them in programming language. So obviously, before writing a code in any programming language, right now we are using Java, but you can write this game in JavaScript also, React, Python, any programming language, right? Once you know how to write the algorithm in plain English, you just need to take that English sentences, those English sentences, and you know you can convert them into any programming language. So take this as a very good tip to become a very good programmer. So let's build the game step by step. So this will be the step one, building the board. But before that, I'm going to go back to my Visual Studio Code and wanted to show you this is a prerequisite I already did, right? So I've created a folder called Tic-Tac-Toe. So just go ahead and create a folder in your machine, in your computer, in your laptop, and create a class. Create a new file, first of all, tic-tac-toe.java, and create a class tic-tac-toe. Inside that, we are going to have a main method. Okay, so we're going to build this game step by step, or a task by task. The first task, as I said, if you can write the algorithm in English, you can convert it into any programming language. So first is a step one, or the task one is building the board. So how we are going to create the board, something like this, right? So we are going to have all of these different underscores or different dashes, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 different dashes, because tic-tac-toe has that grid, right? That board. So how to create a board? To build a tic-tac-toe game board, we're going to use 2D arrays as a data structure. So we're going to learn a data structure called 2D arrays, how to create an array, 2D array in Java. Now, if you don't know how to create a 2D array in Java, I mean, it's pretty simple, maybe if I can open a new tab to the right, something like this. And maybe I need to move this to separate window, this presentation, so that I can run this presentation separately. So let me just have it here running full screen. Okay. And I'll go back to that window, new tab. You can search like Java 2D array, something like that. And probably we can use this first link, and we will just, so I'm giving you a tip, right? Even if you don't know Java, you can learn, if you know the algorithm, right? If you know the steps, plain English steps, you can learn, you can create, you can write your programs using Google also, right? So I know how to write a 2D two-dimensional array in Java, but I'm just giving you the example, right? So in this case, I'm going to create a 2D array, something like this. So this is the syntax I'm going to use. So you can copy and paste. So just copy this code from here. So the step one, right, we need to create our data structure, right? So the data structure will be the board, right? I want to create a board. So I'm going to give it a name of board. And our board is going to look like something like this. So we're going to have three different rows with And I'm not going to use integer. This will be a character array, right? Because we're going to have different characters, something like this. See that? And let's have another underscore, and let's have another one. So we have three different. Now I'm going to just copy and paste this. So let's do that. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Simple. So this is going to be our data structure. So now I have my data structure here, right? And now I'm going to use this data structure to, so let's go back to our nodes maybe, right? So that's under here, Java tic-tac-toe, right? So build a tic-tac-toe game board and 2D array. So data structure we have created. Now move on to the step 2 where we need to print or show the board. Now how are we going to show or print the board? So I have written the algorithm here, right? So just go through this. This is a really good way of writing programs. I'm telling you, you can refer all of these notes. I'm going to upload it on Instagram also where you can see it. So we're going to use nested loops. So you're going to learn nested loops. So there will be nested loops. So we're going to have I and J. We're going to print a new line, then separate each row by 2 lines, add tab space before each line. Each characters should have 2 spaces. So let's follow this algorithm, this simple English algorithm. So what it is saying, right? So we need to print or show the board. Now this is more of a task. So each individual task is going to become a function. So this is a good case, where I can write a function. I can write a function in Java. So I'm going to use public static. And obviously this is just going to print the board. So it's not going to return anything. I'm going to call this function as print board, and it's going to accept a character array, two-dimensional array basically, which we are going to call a board. Okay, this is a function. Okay, so it's a good idea, to document your functions. I'm going to use something like a Java doc syntax here. So Java doc comment. So this is param board, right? So I'm going to keep this param board, right, which is coming. So if you see that Java has automatically generated some of the documentation for me. So this is going to be a function, and let's give it a name. Like I have the name, but I'm still going to have a name here, function print board. Now, what this function is going to do, so I'm going to write down some of these steps. So like what this function does. So maybe I can have a function logic, something like this written here. And maybe I can write that thing step by step, something like this. So now I'm saving. And now we can write some logic here, the function logic, which I'm going to pick up from my presentation, right? So where is my presentation? I need to find it out actually. So maybe it is inside this window and this one, right? Okay, so we are going to use nested loop. So use nested loop ij. So write a nested loop, that will be the first step. So let's do that. So I'm going to write down that step also here, right? Write nested for loop between like maybe I and j. So I'm going to use I and j for that. So let's do that. So this is how, this makes your programming or writing the logic or a game or anything, really simple. So I'm going to use for loop. I'm going to use the automatic code generator here. We are going to save some time, right? And you see that, right? It has generated integer I equals to 0, board.length. Yes, I'm going to run the first loop with until board.length. And I need to have another loop, which is for j. And you see that it has generated that j loop, but I don't want to run it till the board length. I want to pick up that from my board and I dot length. So basically what I'm trying to do, so I'm picking this first row, okay, and then I need to go through all the columns, 1, 2, 3. Pick the second row, so this is I, 0, 1, 2, and then the columns, I have 3 columns, right? So I'm going to pick the length of each row, something like that. So each row, each column or each board row has a length of 3. So it's easy, I mean, if you try to write this code by yourself. So let's do that. So now we'll follow the next step. That's why, I have written these steps here so that we can easily follow this. So let me switch back to that one. So print a new line. So the first next step is we have to print the new line. So let's do that. To print a new line, we can use a, so this will be our step 2. So let's write it in capital, print a new line. And I'm going to use sout system.out.println. Instead of println, I'm going to use print. And we need to print a new line, right? So I can use this syntax. So we just need to print a new line. Let's go back to our presentation and see why it is not coming. Maybe I will close this one and open that window only. Okay, separate each row by 2 lines. So separate each row by 2 lines, or maybe I'll write down all the steps, first separate each row by 2 lines. So separate each row by 2 lines. Okay, so we need to have each row, separated by 2 lines. That is one of the tasks. So I have printed the line. Now, or maybe I'll simplify it a better. Let's first try to generate without anything, right? I just want to make it really simple for you guys, right? So let's print directly something and then we will put the logic step by step. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking dynamically. So I'm just going to print, I'm going to take my board and I'm going to pick the I and I'm going to pick the J, something like this. Okay, and now if I save, and it's a good idea, to test your code. So I'm going to call this function. So I'm going to call print board and I'm going to pass the board argument to it. So this should print the board. So I'm going to open the terminal. And first step, we need to run java c tic-tac-toe.java. And hopefully it should compile. So it has compiled, right? So I'm going to say tic-tac-toe, just run it. See that? So we got all that board, but that board got printed into this vertical fashion. I mean, each underscore is coming on a new line. So somehow we need to arrange our board into this format, right? This is the format we need, right? So that's what that logic is. So I'm going to write all that logic here. Maybe that will give you the idea. So we need to print a new line. Obviously, let's print a new line every time. So let's do that step by step now. I think now I can follow those steps. So println, and I'm going to have a new line. So every underscore now is going to come just after a new line, right? But I don't need a new line here. I need a new line after each of the 3 lines, right? I mean, once I have printed this 3 underscores, right? So if I go back here, right? 1, 2, 3, I want to print 1, 2, 3, then I need a new line. 1, 2, 3, then I need a new line. 1, 2, 3, then I need a new line, something like that. So every time when and I have this ln here, so I need to remove that also. So now you will see, right, every time we are going to have a different line, three different lines. So I'm going to just compile it again. And now if I run, see that we're having our board created now, but we need some space also, right? So that's the next step. Add a tab space. Okay, separate each row by 2 lines. That is done. Add tab space before each line. So before each line, I'm going to add a tab space, and each character should have 2 different spaces. So these are two steps I need to have. So add a tab space before each line. This is one of the step. And the last step would be, if I press enter and 5 space, last step would be each character should have a space. So each character should have a space. So writing these steps, it really helps. This is more of your plain English algorithm, and we are going to follow all the steps only. So each character should have a, so first I'm going to add a tab space. So before each line, I need to have a tab space, right? So I'm going to use sout. I'm going to remove the ln part because I do not want to print on new line, and I'm going to use tab. So this is a T which I'm going to print. Let's test. Let's run the program step by step. That's how we need to. Okay, so this is cool. I'm going to run it. See that? So, but I don't need to have a tab space between each space, right? So again, I'm going to move this here. So I need to have a new line, then I need to have a tab space. Separate each row by two lines actually. I'm saying two lines, so let me put two lines here. And then we have a tab, okay? And after that tab, we need to have a space also, right? Each character should have a space. So let's have a space printed. So maybe I can use the separate system.out.println, or maybe I can add a plus also here, something like this. And maybe I can put a space, something like this here. But I need to have two spaces. So let's remove this the println, right? So we can use a single print line, and here also, right, each thing we are going to have on a new line, and then we need to have a tab, right? So maybe I can put something like this, a new line and tab. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to bring my terminal a little bit up. Let me clear it so that you can see. So first let's compile, and then I'm going to run it. And there you go. You see that? So we are having our tic-tac-toe board, right? Created. It's looking good. So I'm having two line at first also. That's okay. I think we can keep. And let's have one system.out.println here also, just before printing the board. So I'm going to have it here. So let's have, so I'm going to use print only, not a new line. And I'm going to say, let's play tic tac toe, something like this. And now let's again compile and run. See that? Let's play tic tac toe. Or maybe I can have a new line here also, just to, have a better view. So these are all the experiments, and I'm trying to live code, so even I'm also learning while writing this code. So let's play tic-tac-toe, and I have my board created. So I think we are done with the step 1 and step 2 of our program, right? So we have built the board, right? We have created a 2D array, that data structure, and inside step 2 we have a print, and we have shown the board also. So maybe I can write it down the steps also. So let's put a comment here. So this is our step 1. So this is our board data structure, maybe. And step 2 would be printing the board, right? So we are print the board is the second step. So let's save it. I'm going to save it, and these are the steps we have played, right? I mean, these are the steps I have written. Let's take a quick pause here, come back, and then we are going to move, and we are going to talk about the step 3 for this game, and we will keep continuing to build this game. Okay, welcome back. Moving on to the step 3 of the game, where we are going to take turns. Now the game is really going to come up, where we're going to have two different players. So those players, in tic-tac-toe, we have X and we have the O's. So they're going to take turns. So we need to write the logic, we need to write a task, we need to create a step where players are going to take turns. So this is the logic: run a loop for 9 iterations. If I is even, it's X turn. So we're going to run a loop. Why we are running loop for 9 times, I'm just going to explain it to you, because we have 9 different underscores here. So there are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So there are going to be 9 turns, and each player is going to take a turn, right? So obviously we need to run a loop for 9 iterations. So, and I'm going to check whether so that's a loop, right? And if I is even, it's X turn, and if I is odd, it's O's turn. So this is a logic we are going to build in the game, and I have already noted down all of these steps here, so we are going to call a function called take turns, and I have already written a logic here. Okay, so I'm thinking of one more thing, maybe I'll discuss with you. So every time we are passing a board here, right? So let's not pass the board. Let's make the first thing, let's take out this board from here. So I'm going to cut it out from here, and I'll make it as a class variable, something like this. So, okay, so I'm going to have this as a static, character board. So we don't need to pass around the board. So I think we will keep changing the board and we will keep printing the board, something like that. So I don't need to pass a board here because we have the board, right? And if I go into the function, I need to remove this board parameter also. And if I save, I need to remove this also because we're not going to have any argument to this function. So this is a good idea. I thought of maybe just have a, so these are some of the design decisions you can make while building the game also. Okay, so take turns. So I'm going to write a function. We don't need to have any parameter because the board is now class variable, so it's available everywhere. So let's write a function, maybe public, oh God, what I'm doing, public static. And this is not going to return anything because we are going to take turns at the game, right? So take turns, and I'm going to call it take turns. And inside this, I'm going to build my logic. So let's call this function also straight away. So step 2 will be printing the board. Now the step 3 will be taking turns. So I'll say take turns, something like this, and I'm going to call take turns function. So it's a good idea to build your program, your game into small functions, right? It's really easy to understand. So we are printing the board, we are taking the turns, that's how the game is running. And here now I need to run a loop for how many times? For 9 times. So we have a logic here. So I'm going to use I run a loop for 9 iterations. So I know I need to run it for 9. So 9 is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and I'm going to just put let's do this, just do the system out here just to see if our code is working. So I'm just going to print I here and see if our code is working fine. So let's clear. First of all, I'm going to say Java C Tic Tac toe dot Java. Okay, it has compiled. Now let's run it. So you see that? So we got a 0, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are taking the 9 turns, 0 to 8. And this 0 is coming here because I haven't used, maybe it's not showing the print line properly. Okay, so this is working fine. Now we need to have that logic, right? Where if it's even number, right? If I is even, it's going to be X turn. And if it's I is odd, it's going to be O's turn, right? So let's do that because this is the taking turns logic. So I'm going to check if I, and there's something called modulus operator. I don't know what is going wrong here. Okay, there's something called a modulus operator which I can use, and I can divide it by, so modulus is nothing but division and answer is remainder, right? So I mod 2, if that's equals to 0, in that case, I know it's an even number. Okay, so this is a step. If it is an even, it's going to be X turn. So let's sys out here println. Maybe I can use print and then we will just have the new line character here and we will say X turn. Okay, otherwise I'm going to copy this one from here. I know it's Y, not Y, O's turn on a new line. So maybe we can try double new line, right? Let's see how it works. Okay, this is just output. Let's test our code. So Java C and Java. So you see that, right? It's coming. So first of all, it's going to be X turn, then O's turn, then X turn, then O's turn, then X, then O. And this is how we're going to have 9 different turns. And I don't know why this percentage is coming. You need to have the quotation mark, the separator here. So I'm using this colon separator here. Okay, so I'm going to save. So I think taking turns. So we are able to take turns now, right? X turn, Y turn, X turn, O's turn. And now we actually need to play the game, right? Where user, we are going to ask for the input from the user, where X is going to enter something, then we're going to grab that value and we are going to do some logic. So that would be the next step. So let's have a quick pause here. We are done with the taking turns step. We will go step by step, task by task. This is how you actually build the code in the industry also, in agile way, right? You're building task by task into smaller tasks, the game. So let's have a quick pause, come back, and we'll move on to the next step of the game. Okay, welcome back. Now, step number 4, where we are going to ask the user to pick up a spot. Now, what is this picking up a spot? So if I go back to my game, right? So users are going to take turn. They're going to have this 2D array or 2D board, which is going to be presented to the user. So say suppose that I'm the X player and you're the O player, right? So I'm going to pick a spot. So I need to decide where I want to put my X. So I can put my X here or here or here, or anywhere, right? Wherever I want. So maybe I want to pick this spot, right? So I'm going to select for the 0th row and the 0th column. So I'm going to say 0 space 0. So that will be, this is my spot. Now say suppose it's your turn and you want to pick this spot, right? So this will be second row and second column, right? So this will be 1 comma 1 or 1 space 1, something like that. So this is the logic we need to write here. If you see here, right? So asking user to pick a spot. So where we are going to ask the user to pick up a row and column. We're going to check if the user spot is already taken, and we are going to return that row and column value. So obviously this is really important step, if check if the spot is already taken, because if I have selected, say suppose 0 0, I have put an X here, you shouldn't be able to put O there, right? That's the important part of this step. So let's jump into the coding and we'll start coding this function. Okay, so let's write the functions. I have already written the steps and the function Java documentation here. So we're going to write a public function. So public static. Then obviously it's going to return an integer array. So I'm going to have an integer array, and I'll tell you like what we are going to return inside this function. So this function will be ask user, and it's not going to take any argument because we have created the board right on the top. So we don't need to pass board or anything like that. Now we're going to write the logic step by step. So as it is going to return an array. So let me write it down here, maybe a return value. That will be a spot. So I'm going to return a spot value, which will be an integer array. And if I save, now let's ask user to pick a spot. So I'm going to use print. And let's put a new line here. And I'm going to ask the user to pick a spot. Okay, and let's have some space, and I'm going to give some example to the user also, so that user should know. So something like the 0 comma space 0, something like this. And now we need to grab the input from the user, right? So that's the important step. So for that purpose, in Java, we can use something called scanner. So I'm going to use scanner. Scanner is very good class. So I've already declared a scanner here. If you see here, right? So somehow, maybe I have written this and some. So we're going to use scanner class, or maybe I can write it again. Let's do it from the start. So I'm going to create a static scanner. So scanner and import actually. So this is, I'm going to press and it's going to import the scanner on the top. New scanner class, and here I'm going to use system.in. So we can use scanner to take the input from the user in Java. Make sure it is imported on the top. Okay, so now I'm going to scan the values which are coming from the user. So pick a spot. I have a space here. I'm going to scan those values. So those two values will be row and column. So row, and I can use a scan dot next. So there is a function called next integer, because when I'm going to pick a spot, that value will be in integer, right? So that's why I'm saying, okay, pick an integer. So this will return me the first value. Now I want to grab the column value also. So I'm going to use call scan dot next int again. So that will return me a column value. Now let's see. So this function is crying, So first of all, I'm going to return that array. So I'm going to create a new. So this is a very good syntax for returning array with values. So I'm going to return my row and my column values. Okay, I'm going to save. So this has, now we need to call this function also, right? So before doing that, I think I'm going to get the row and column value also. So let's do this, maybe here, taking turns, I'm calling, right? So here I'm going to call that function ask user, and it's going to return me that integer array, right? So that will be the spot, that will be the integer array. And I'm going to store that into a spot, and both the players are going to, we're going to ask both the player, to pick the spot. So let's make this spot variable here and instead just like this. So I'm going to pick a spot here. I'm going to pick a spot here also. And finally, here I'm going to just print the spot value. So maybe spot 0 will be my row value, because that's how I have formed that array. And I'm going to just put the space here with the concatenation string, and I'll have a spot 1. So that will return me the row and column value, right? So let's try to compile this. So somehow I got a problem in last video, that's why I'm re-recording this session. So I'm going to compile again. Run. Okay, now X turn, pick a spot. For example, 0, 0. So maybe X has picked a spot of 0, 0. See that? We are getting 0, 0. Now O's turn, right? So now say suppose O picks up 0 and 0. So it's going to show that, right? That O has picked 0, 0. This is what we want to stop. So we are getting the spot. I think that's what, but the problem is we are getting the spot, but it's returning the duplicate spot also. So say suppose I have taken the spot of 0, 0, it's returning that. And that's the logic we have to write. Check if the spot is already taken. But I'm going to hold on to that logic, or maybe let's write that logic and I'll show you again, in the next part of the video how this is working. So we're going to check if my board, so this is logic for this. So I can grab the value of this spot. So I'm going to use call and row. So whatever call and row, sorry, first we need to have a row and then we need to have a column value. So I'm going to grab a value, whichever spot user has picked up from the board. So I'm checking board row column. So say suppose user has, I'll go back to my presentation, right? That will be easy. So if the user has picked up this 0, 0 spot, right? So I'm going to check in the board whether that spot has an underscore value or X value or O value, something like that. So if it is not equal to, if this value is not equals to this underscore, then that spot is already taken. Really simple, right? Simple, right? If you are playing the game, if the X is here, right, you cannot take the spot. You can only take the spot if the value is underscore. So I'm checking whether not equals to underscore. If it is X or Y, I'm going to ask the user again, hey man, you're picking a wrong spot. You need to pick the spot again. So again, so while loop, in the while loop, I'm asking the user again and again. So I'll say here, I'll message the user that spot taken, and then I'm going to say try again. Okay, and then I'm going to remove this part. Okay, with a space, and then again I'm going to grab the row and column values using the scan dot next integer. So let's do that. So this time I don't need this integer, so I'm going to remove that. If I just delete and save, probably it will auto format. Okay, so let's test this part of the logic. So again, I need to break my program, clear, compile, run. Now say suppose I have picked 0, 0. right? And now I can pick a 0 and 0 again, and it's going to keep playing the game. But I'll show you, like, because now we are having the spot, right? Now we have the spot. Now we need to put those x and o's values on that particular spot. So we need to update the board. So that is the next step, and I'm going to show you this logic, how this logic is working. I'm going to remove this and I'll show you to again once we have the board updated. So that's coming up next. So I think it's a good time to take a pause here, come back, and we'll move on to the step number 5. Okay, welcome back. Up to step number 5. On to step number 5, update the board. So we're going to update the board now because we got the spot from the user. So we're going to update the board with the spot values got from the user, like in the last step, and we are going to print the board, right? So let's go back to our code, right? And somehow I need to write it down again, that part. So maybe here, I think we are taking the turns, right? Okay. So I got the X turn, we got the spot from the user. Now we need to update the board. So I'm going to access the board here. So I have the board, right, which is at the top. So we are getting the spot 0 will be my row. So we're going to spot 0. Then I'm going to have another value for the spot, and at 1 I have the column. So this is how I'm accessing that underscore, right? And I'm going to update that value with, so directly here, I'm updating the board with either x value or a y value. So I'm going to put x there, and I'm going to copy this and paste the same thing here because I'm getting the spot here also. But here, instead of x, I'm going to replace it with o. Now you're going to see the real magic of the game, and we need to print the board again, right? So we are printing the board. If you see here, this is the print board logic. Maybe I'll remove this new line from here, and before each line I need to have a tab, and I'm going to take this, and put it here, this new line, something like this. Let's try. So I'm going to print the board again at the end where we are taking the turns. I'm just going to call the print board again here, and you'll see the magic happening if everything goes well. So I'm going to break my program first, then clear, then compile again. Okay, let's run. Okay, so I got some issues, right? So I need to have a new line. So I need to go to print board. I did some changes. So here I need to have one new line actually that I need to have here. So let's keep that. And now again, to clear and run. See that? Let's play tic-tac-toe. Now it's X turn, pick a spot, for example, 0, 0. So let's pick 0, 0. You see that now the X has, so the game is working fine. I got the X here. Now we'll test that part of the code where I mentioned about this part, right? While the spot is already taken. So now the O is going to take the 0 and 0 again. And you can see the spot taken, try again. It's asking O, the player number 2, to pick the different spot. So maybe I'll pick 0, 1. See that? We got the O here. So every time now the X turn has came, right? So we are updating the board and we are checking whether the spot is taken or not. That's where, this while part was playing a very important role, I told you in the previous part of the video. Okay, so I think this is working fine. Maybe I'll break my program now. And I want to do one more thing in this part of the video before moving on. So let's do some refactoring here, right? This is more of a duplicate code. Here X is taking turn and Y is taking turn. So let's write a different function for this. So maybe I'll write a public, okay, public void name, no. So this will be void only, but I need to mention the static part here. Public static void. Here I'm going to say turn. So taking turns is going to call a turn function, and it's going to pass the character value, right? Whether it is a X turn or a Y turn. So I'm going to pass the player who is playing the game, right? So I'm going to just pass the character player here, and I'm just going to copy and paste this code from here. You'll see the magic. This is how we can refactor the code on the go. So let's see that. So I just need to do some formatting here. So instead of X turn or Y turn, right, I'm going to do one thing. So I'm going to say player, whatever player value I'm getting here, right? So I'm going to write that plus this double quote. Then and probably I need to have a one more here. So I'm going to just, I'm using the string concatenation here, right? So next line player. So if it is X, so we're going to say X turn. Then we need a spot also, right? So I'm just going to bring this spot value here. So let's put something like this, int array spot. Okay. And then board, obviously we have access to board and we are calling the ask user function, right? For asking the pick a spot. So that's where the user asking part is written. Okay, so ask user, now we're going to the spot, and here I'm going to replace this with player. So that way, I'm just going to call this function. So I can avoid a lot of duplicate code here. So I'm just going to call the turn function, and here I'm going to pass X. And here again, I'm going to call the function turn. And here I'm going to pass O. See that? This is the beauty of, so this take turn, this function is responsible for just taking the turns for the player. But actual turn, actual game, where whose turn it is, how it's, this function is actually asking the user for the X or a Y value, I mean for the column row and column value, and we are updating the board, right? So we are printing the board. So print board is not maybe a part of, so we are calling turn and printing. Okay, take turns. We can call write the print boards also. Print board here. That's not a problem. Maybe I can write print board here also. So with a little bit of code refactoring, I think you can see, right, our game is getting developed. We have so many good functions we have written. We started from this step one where we have the board data structure, right? We have print the board in step two. Step three, we started taking the turns also in the game, right? And we have print the board, right? We have taking turns. Now we have written this function also where we are taking the turns. But the real part of this game is going to start in the next part of the video. We're going to have another quick pause, come back, and the real meat, where the real challenge of this game is where, or maybe I need to test my game. First of all, I'm jumping the guns here. So let's see. I did some refactoring and I didn't test my code. I'm getting excited about this game. Okay, so maybe I'll pick 0, 0. I can see the X is coming. Maybe I'll try to pick 0, 0 again. See, it is asking to pick the another spot, 0, 1. Maybe I'll take 0, 2. See that? The game is working fine. But now we need to declare the winner, right? What if I got all the X's in this row? So X is going to win. If I have all the O's in this column, the O is going to win, or maybe diagonally also. So that's the logic for this game, right? We need to identify, we need to check for all the rows, and if we have all the X's, X is going to win. If we have all the O's, O is going to win. Similarly, we need to check for the columns. If first column or second or third column has the O or X value, they're going to win. And diagonally also we need to check. So first left diagonal, right diagonal. So there are 4 different logic, and this part is really tricky for this game. And if you know how to write this part of the game, and I'll try my best to write my logic, whatever I think of, about tic-tac-toe, I'm going to write that. So let's do that step by step in the next part of the video. Welcome back. Now this part of the video, or the coming parts of this video, I would say, are going to be really important, because here we are going to write the logic for the winner. So we're going to check for the winner, because now we have our game ready where, players can take the turns. So I can take the turn of X, then O's, both can take the turns, right? But now we need to write a logic where we need to declare a winner. And in tic-tac-toe, there are 4 different possibilities, I would say. Yeah, I think 4 different possibilities where there can be a winner, or someone can win. And the first one is checking for X's or O's in all the rows, right? All the rows. So in tic-tac-toe, we have 3 rows, right? So we got first row, we got the second row, we got the third row. We'll call it the 0th row. This is the first row and this is the second row, something like that. Because we use loops, right? And loop starts with I equals to 0, j equals to 0. So whenever both the players, they're playing the game, we need to check whether the first row has X or O's. Then we have to declare X or O as winner. Okay, check whether the zeroth row, okay, whether the first row has X or O's, declare the winner. And if we got X or O's on the third row, we need to declare the winner. But how we are going to achieve this, right? So I have made a lot of visualizations for you, and I'm going to make it really, really simple. I'm telling you, I have these three grids, right? So basically, there are three different possibilities, right? Because I need to check for three different rows. So obviously I need to go through first row, zeroth row, first row or second row. And so we need an outer loop for that. This is giving you the hint, right? We need an outer loop where, I'm going to write the loop which will start with I equals to 0 and goes up to, we have like three different rows, right? And we're going to pick each row one by one. We'll pick the zeroth row first and we'll check for the cell values. I mean the column values, right? So I'll pick the first row. So I equals to 0. So outer loop is going to run. Then I'm going to run one inner loop inside that for each column in a row. So I'm going to pick the first, like 0th row. Then I'm going to loop through the first column, second column, third column, or 0, 1, 2. Then I'm going to pick the first row. I'll pick the 0th column, first column, second column. Then I'm going to pick the third, second row or a third row, I would say, and I'm going to go check for the column 0, column 1, column 2. So this is the logic. So first of all, we need to write the loop, right? So I'm going to go back, just I have copied and pasted all of this logic, but let's first start with the loop, right? So I'll go back to my Visual Studio Code, and here, where we need to write this code, right? So here we are printing the board in the step 5, right? So I'm going to write a step 6 for checking the winner. So we need to check for the winner. So I'm going to say check winner. Okay. And here I'm going to call the function check. I mean, writing functions with small logic is always a good idea. And if you follow that, I think that's a great strategy. So we're going to check for the winner, and this check winner function is going to return me the winner value, which is going to be a char value. Okay, char. So it's going to return me a character with a winner. So I'm going to get either X, O, or a question mark. There is a third possibility, right? There can be a tie also, which can happen in the game, right? So now I'm going to write this function check winner, which is going to return me check winner. So let's do this, let's do some sys out here, and we're going to check for the winner. Who is the winner, right? So now I'm going to copy this check winner. And I have already, copied all of the logic which we need to write for the check winner, which is going to return a character winner. So obviously we need to write public, then a static, then this is going to return a char, and I'm going to paste the function name. It's not going to accept any arguments. So as I said, right, inside check winner. So first of all, I'm going to just return straight away. I'm going to return question mark. We are returning character, right? Question mark. So I'm considering the game is tie initially, right? The game is going to be tied. So now we need to run the loop, right? So let's start here. Okay. Let's start here. So I'm going to run an outer loop, which will be I, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to say for, and I'm going to just use the code generator, so integer I equals to 0. And we need to run the outer loop 3 times, because we have 3 different possibilities, three rows actually, right? So I can choose board dot length, because the length of my board is 3. So in length of my board is 3, right? Obviously. So I'm going to use that. Somehow I'm losing my mouse. I don't know. Okay. And so I can use board dot length. I need to run another loop that is for j, and that will be again board dot length, right? Because but I need to, yes, inner loop also I need to run 3 times, right? But here, maybe I can use, let's skip the board dot length only, because 0, 1, 2, that's the number of times I need to run this loop. So I'm going to show you something. Okay. So we're going to check for the winner here, right? So I need something like a winner variable, which I'm going to create here, because now I think we got the loop, right? Let's move ahead and see what we need to do inside the loop. So this is what I am doing. I'm running the loop. Now I'm going to declare the winner variable and keep concatenating the column. So what I'm doing basically, so let's say I have picked up the first row. Okay. And let's say we have all the access in the first row. So how you're going to identify that, right? Because we are running things in a loop, right? So that's where I'm going to declare a winner variable. So we're going to have a winner variable where, initially, say suppose X has picked up this spot. So winner is going to have the X value. Then the X is going to pick up this spot, right? So then winner is going to have X value. Next, if winner X picks up third column also, right? Then the winner value is going to have X, and that's where I know that X is a winner, and vice versa. This is same thing can be possible for the O also, right? So that's what I'm going to do here. So we are going to have a winner variable here. So that will be a string. So let's declare a string winner, and let's give it an empty value for as a starter value, right? And every time, see, I'm going to pick up the first row, I'm going to make the winner empty because I need to check for each row, right? So that's a good idea to make the winner empty each time. So maybe I can remove this from here. I'll just declare and make the winner empty here. Okay, now I'm going to check if I'm going to check if, or maybe I can just directly concatenate the value here, right? So winner plus equals to, I'm going to concatenate winner plus equals to whatever value I'm getting in the board, right? So board I, and not here, actually here. See that? So I'm just doing the concatenation here, and after this inner loop has ran. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the first row. Say, take the example, I have picked up the first row. I'm running the inner loop, right? So if I'm going to just concatenate into winner value, right? And then I'm going to have some value in the winner, which I'm going to check. After each inner loop, I need to check whether winner has X or O's. And if it doesn't have, obviously I'm going to return the question mark. So let's do that here. I'm going to check. So I think that's the part of the next part of this. So check if winner has either all X or O's. If winner is XXX, return X as a winner. If winner is OOO, return O as a winner. Else return question mark as a winner. And that's what I'm doing here, right? We have this one, I have concatenated, and I'm returning the question mark here at the end. So I'm going to check whether winner dot, we're going to use equal function. So whenever you want to compare strings, it's a good idea to use the equals function, xxx. So if I have this output, inside a winner, I'm going to return X is a winner. So return that X character. Else, I'm going to copy this, okay? Let's cheat or steal, just to save some time. Else, I'm going to say if winner dot equals to o. Okay. And now I'm going to return the O value here. Don't return the 0, okay? We need to return the O because we have X as one player and O as a second player. And in any case, maybe if we didn't get the X or didn't get the O's, right? So see what is happening here. I'm picking the first row. This loop is giving me the first row. I'm checking the each column and I'm just concatenating that value. And after the concatenation, I'm checking whether it is X or Y. So I'm going to do some sys out here and we're going to test our code, right? So let's do this println. I'm just going to see what value we are getting in the winner, right? Based on that, we are returning something here. So XXX or YYY we are doing here. So that looks good. So I have my check winner function here and we are checking for the winner here also, but I think that's not needed. I'm going to remove that. We just play the game, right? We'll see after printing the board what is happening, right? Inside the check winner. So we are looping, we are getting the winner. What is the value we're getting in the winner? Okay. Then not going to do anything else than that. So first of all, I need to obviously clear my terminal. Let's do Java C tic-tac-toe dot Java. Okay, it compiled. That's good. Let's run it. Okay, let's play. So let's go with the a situation where I'm going to fill all the x values in the first row. Okay, so I'll take 0 and 0. See that we got x here. Then what I'm doing actually, I need to see actually. I'm printing the winner, right? And winner, I'm getting the entire board value actually. Why I'm getting entire board value, right? I need to check. I'm just printing winner. Okay, so I think I need to do something, some other logic. I need to build some other logic here. So X, so the winner is, let me do one thing, okay? I need to see what I'm getting here. So I'm going to put that on the next line. So let's combine it with next line. I think it's concatenating everything, but I'm running the inner loop. So winner is empty for the first time. J is less than board.length. So J is going to be 0, 1, and 2. Let's sys out the value of I and j also here. I plus space plus j. Okay, let's see what is going on here. Okay, I closed the terminal actually. Let me open it again. Okay, let's run it. Java tic-tac-toe dot Java. I need to debug. So let's debug the code and see like how things are working here. And I'm going to say up only Java C instead of Java. Okay, so let's place. I'm picking the 0 and 0th spot. So that has given me so many things. Actually, this rule loop is running, but actually I need the X value only. So let me look into this first. Okay, so I just looked into it and actually our code is working fine. So I just put this winner string here and we are tracking for the winner. So obviously we are going to get the winner value for each row, right? Because we are running the outer loop and the inner loop. So let me run it again and I'll show you. So Java C, I have already that. I think I can use the up arrow keys. Okay, now I'm going to say Java tic-tac-toe. Okay, now let's play. So I'm going to pick 0, 0. You see that we got winner X. So I'm getting the winner value for each row. So for the 0th row, I got X underscore underscore. And for the second row, I got nothing. And for the third row, I got nothing, right? So it's working fine. Now now it's O's turn, right? So now say suppose O is going to play on the first row. Okay, so he's going to pick up this one. So now again we got winner, three different rows, right? X underscore underscore O underscore underscore, right? Now X is going to play the game and we are going to see like how things work, right? So I'll pick 0 and 1. So that will bring me, see now we are getting that value, right? X underscore and here. So again now O is going to play the game. He's going to pick 1, 1. Now see, anyone can win the game, right? So I'm going to make the X win. So 0, 0th row and the second column. See that. So winner XXX. Finally we got, so we picked a spot, we got winner XXX. And this is what this value we want, right? So return X. So now we are checking here. If winner equals to XXX, we are going to return X. And if it is O, we are going to return O. So let me show you how the things are going to work, how the winner is going to get declared here. So we have this, right? So we are going to have a winner here. So we need to write the next logic where now this is working fine, right? We are checking for each rows, right? And we are checking for the winner value. If it is X, XXX, sorry, we are returning the X. If it is O, we are returning the O. And otherwise, it's a tie, right? So now let's move on and we need to write another logic where we need to check if winner has either all the X or O's If the winner is XXX, return X as a winner. If winner is OOO, return O as a winner. Else return question mark as a winner. This is done. I think this we already did. Now we are going to check if winner is X, declare X as a winner. Check if winner is O, declare O as a winner. Check if winner is question mark, and all the turns are taken. I did some mistake here, and all the turns are taken. We see tie is going to happen at the end of the game. We're going to check for the tie at the end of the game. So how many turns we are taking, right? 9 turns. If all the turns are taken, then we need to declare the tie. So this is this English language we are going to use, this plain algorithm we are going to use to write check for the winner now. So check if winner is X, declare X as a winner, because we are returning either X, O or question mark using check winner function, right? Now I'll come back here and we are going to check for that. So let's do that. So I'm going to check if winner has value of X. So I'm going to declare X as a winner, right? So let's do that. I'm going to just S out. We're going to use print new line. I'm going to say another new line, and I'll say X wins. Okay, and then I'm going to have one more because I'm declaring a winner, right? So it's good to have another new line here. Okay, so then I'm going to copy this and I'm going to check for else. The same logic I'm writing. Check if the winner is X, declare X as a winner. Check if winner is O, declare O as a winner. So I'm going to check if O is a winner. O, and so again, I'm going to copy this out. So in this case, who's going to win? The O is going to win. Now the last condition where I need to check, okay, I need to check if the winner is question mark. I mean, it is a tie, right? And turns, all the turns are taken. Then we need to declare a tie. So we need to check two different conditions here. Else if the first condition will be this one, I'm going to check for the winner equals to question mark. And so we need to put an and condition because we are checking for if winner is question mark and all the turns are done. So how many turns we are taking, right? So I need to check for the turns. Do I have a turn? Take turns is here, right? Okay, it's going inside a loop. So I need to check for the I value. So I is going to start at 0 and it's going to finish at 8, right? So I'm going to check for I equals to 8. Where is that? Okay. So I is my turns, right? I equals to 8. So if both the conditions are true, I'm going to say the game is tied. So let's copy this, paste it here, and I'll say game. Okay, I did some mistake again. Game tied. Ties or tied, I don't know. I'm going to write tied and a new line. So let's see now. We will have the winner now. Finally, I think our game is going to work. So we are checking for the winner. We are getting the winner and we are checking if winner is X. So let's do that. So I'm going to just break this for now. I'm going to clear my terminal. First, we need to compile. And I need to remove all this sys out actually if I'm having. Let's see. I think I don't have any sys out here. Okay. So I can run safely. Okay, let's play. So I'm going to make X win. Okay, 0, 0. Then O is going to pick the first row and first column. Okay, very good. Now X is going to take the 0 and 1. Okay, or maybe let's take 0 and 2. Okay, good. Now O is going to take 1 and 2, say suppose. Now I'm going to make X win, okay? And you'll see that. So I'll pick 0 and comma space 1. See that? X wins. But you see one thing which is happening again, O is taking the turn. So when X is going to win, whenever there is a winner or whenever there is a tie, we need to break the game. We need to stop the game, right? So the entire thing, like we are taking turns, we are taking turns inside a loop, inside a for loop. So we are going to take 9 turns in total, right? So whenever we have a winner, let's break the loop. So that way, we are not going to have any player taking the turns, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to save now. Let's test it once again. So I'm going to come out of my program. Let's do the compilation first. And let's play now. 0, 0. Okay, it's going to take 1, 0. Okay, again 0, 1, 0, 1. It's going to take 1, 1. Okay, I'm going to 0 and 2. See that X wins and we got out of the loop and the game has stopped. This is what I want. I mean, I think this logic is working fine. I have already tested it. Uh, Once we finish the game, I'll share the code also so you can test and you can tell me if we have any bug in our game, right? Or in this logic. Okay, so I think we are done with the first part where, we are checking for, if I go back to my slides, we have checked for all the rows, right? So we have checked for all the rows. Now we need to check for the columns because the winner is possibly we can have a winner in the columns also. So that will be the second way of checking the winner. So I think we wrote a lot of code and I wrote a lot of code. We had some confusion also in between. Let's take a quick pause, come back, and we are going to write that second possibility of checking the winner. Welcome back. Now we need to work on the second possibility of the winner, right? So the first possibility was finding X's or zeros in all the rows, checking all the rows. Now in the second case, we need to see all the columns, right? So that, this time I have taken the example of O instead of X just to have a variety, or different how to handle different case. So here also we need to run a outer loop for 3 columns. Now see, we need to run through the columns. So the loop is going to be different here. That's really important. So we need to check the first column, whether we have X or O's. We need to check the second column. We need to check the third column, right? So the loop will be special here. Then we need to run an inner loop for each row in a column. So if I have picked up the first or a 0th column, right, I need to check for each row, right? If I have picked up the first column, I need to check for each row. Second column, I need to check for each row. So this is how, and if you see here, if I move next, declare a variable winner and keep concatenating the columns, actually rows, I think I need to concatenate here and we need to declare the winner. So we see a lot of duplicates. Check if the winner has either all X's, check if the winner has, so we have a lot of duplicate. I can clearly see while writing, so check if winner has either all X or O's. If winner is X, then return X. If winner is O's, then return O, else return question mark. So I see some kind of duplicate code happening here, and this is a good idea, just to refactor our code first. So we are going to refactor our code a bit, and then we are going to handle the second case of columns, right? So I'll go back to my code now. And if you see here, right, now we are going to check the winner and there are 4 different possibilities. And all those 4 possibilities has to go through. See, if you want to check the winner, you need to check for all the 4 different possibilities. The first one is checking for the rows. The second one is checking for the columns. And there is a third possibility, which is for the diagonal. And there is that is a left diagonal, and fourth one is a right diagonal. So there are 4 different cases which I need to handle. So it's a good, uh, good opportunity to use the case. So let's learn how to write switch case in Java. So if you don't know how to write a switch case in Java, again, I told you, right, Google it, copy paste the syntax here and use it. So I've copied, some of the steps and you see like a lot of repetitions are happening. So I thought, maybe when you see a lot of repetition, when you're doing the same thing again and again, it's a good idea to take that code and put it into the function. Now, each different case, each different winner case, I'm going to put into the switch case, and each are definitely going to have a different loop, right? So I can't reuse the code here, but at least I can I'll do one thing, where I'm going to manage my code in a better way. So I'm going to take entire code, this code, right, and I'm going to put it into a function. Okay, so let's cut it from here, and I'm going to create a new function here called public static, and this is for the rows, right? Check rows. So I'm going to name it check rows, and I'm going to paste it here. So again, I'm doing the same thing, and obviously it's going to return a character. So we are returning a character, right? And so we are checking the rows, right? And it's going to return me the winner. And this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to run a switch here. I'm going to create a switch and I'll start with 0 because I need to run all the cases. So I'm always going to start with the 0. So I'm going to have 4 different cases. The first one will be the 0th case. And here I'm going to call a function return check rows. That's it. So this is going to call the check rows, and which is going to give me the winner in either of the case, right? So I'm returning check rows, and check winner is calling. I'm going to have a default case also. Let's put a default case also where, maybe we'll have a default winner as question mark, right? So I'm going to return that will be like a tie, something like this. Still, it is giving me the error, so I need to see why it is giving error. The preview feature pattern matching in switch is only available with source level 18 and above. I don't know why it is giving this. If I try this, it's showing me check winner function logic run outer. It's giving me that red quickly squiggly line. Maybe let's save it, and then so I'm calling the check winner, which is going to return me a character, and I'm returning check rows, which returns a character, right? So maybe let's do this. I'm going to just declare a character variable here called winner, and initially it's going to be a question mark, obviously, in case of tie. So here I'm just going to say winner is equals to, I'm going to call check rows. Okay, and I will return the winner. So in any case, right, I'm going to have a winner, and here also I'm going to return the winner at the end, just to remove that error. Okay, so this looks good. So case 0 is for checking for the rows, and we have a good code refactoring also, but we need to test it, right? Because I have changed my code, so it's a good idea to test it. So I'm going to run it again. Okay, so I'll take 0 0 player 0 0 1 1 1. I'll go for 0 2 now. And you said, see that the X wins the game. So game is working fine. Now let's come back to our slides. So we need to run outer loop for 3 columns. Now here the loop, you need to understand this part, which is very important. Okay, so obviously we are going to have 2 different loops, the outer loop and the inner loop, but the pattern is going to be different, right? So what I want to check, I need to check for the column values, right? So let's take the example of first column, right? So first column, if I want to see like whether the winner is there or not, I need to have 0 0 1 0 2 0. This is the pattern 0 0 1 0 2 0. Here 0 1 1 1 2 1, and here I need to check for the pattern of 0 2 1 2 2 2. So this is the pattern we need to generate in the loop. Okay, so what is the pattern? 0 0 1 0 2 0. So let's see how we can write this for loop, right? So we need to just switch the loop. So we are going to have a winner. Okay, now I'm going to write another case here, which is for case 1. I'll call it case 1 only. That's okay. And here also we are going to have the winner, but I'm going to write different function. Check, not rows, but columns. Columns. Okay. And obviously we'll return the winner. Right? And I need to write this function. So let's copy this part, and I'm going to check for columns. All right. And I'm going to have the same kind of structure here. I'm going to declare the winner variable. Let's do some copy and pasting. And now, and I will return that, right? We'll return question mark at the end just to remove that error, But we are returning something. Now we are calling the check columns. So first it's going to look for the case 0 for the rows. If it finds the winner, it's going to return the winner. Then if this doesn't work, it will go to the case 1 because I'm using 0 here. It is going to check for the columns. So obviously I need to run outer loop first. So for I, now my outer loop is going to run for 0, zeroth column, first column, and the second column. So I'm going to keep board.length here. But, and same thing is going to happen for my inner loop also. It is also going to run for board.length only. But this time, when I'm doing this concatenations, I'm going to obviously declare this winner. I'm going to make it empty every time because I need to check for the column values. And this logic, right? Winner plus equals to board. This is really important here. So this is the main thing. So we need to do winner plus equals to. So we need to go with the columns, right? So that will be like board. And this time we will switch J and I. So that's the trick you need to do. So that way we'll get that pattern, right? So we'll start with 0, 0. I'll go back to my slides, okay? We'll have 0, 0. Then we will have 1, 0 because I need to check for 0th column only, right? Then the j is going to increment. So I'm going to have a 2, 0. So that way I'm checking for the first column or the 0th column. Let's take this scenario. Now I will be 1, right? So we are checking again, j is going to become 0, right? So we are checking 0, 1, this one, right? 0, 1. Then we are checking 1, 1, right? Because j is going to increment, I is going to remain the same. Then we are checking 2, 1. Same will happen here, right? 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. So this is a pattern. This visualization is going to help you how you're going to find that pattern and you're going to check for the winner. So we're going to have the winner. And again, I need to copy and paste. I think this will be needed. I don't think so. We can refactor this part, or maybe I'll think through it later on, and I'll provide you the refactored code. So I'm just going to copy and I'm going to check whether winner equals to x, then return x. Winner equals to y. So I'm just going to keep this code for now. Maybe we can refactor it later on. So now we are checking for the columns also, and we are done with this step also. So check rows. So I'm just going to do some kind of So I'll just copy this and paste it here for the check rows. These comments, right? Check. So what is going on? Why it is showing this? Okay, maybe I did some mistake. Let me remove it. I'll put the comments, Java comments, something like this, and it's returning a winner as a character, right? So I'm just going to copy this. And let me copy the steps from here, the function logic part at least. And I'm going to put it here. Okay, so function logic. Let's copy the function name part also. This is always good idea, to just keep writing this. This helps, So we are checking for the rows here, okay? Function logic. So we are running. So this is for checking for the rows. And here, and again, I'm going to just copy and paste. So let's put for the columns also. Java documentation. This is also going to return me the same thing. So I'm going to just steal it from here and paste it here. And the logic, right? Maybe I've written the logic correctly. These are the steps. So let's copy that. And I'm going to put it here. Let's copy the function name part. That's a function logic, check rows. That's a function logic, right? So this is function logic. And this is function name for check for the columns. Because we're going to have some more cases to check, right? So now this function is going to change. Now we don't want to check for a function check winner. Logic is going to be really simple. So let me remove this. Check for rows. I'm going to say check for rows. Okay, next will be, second one will be check for columns, and third one will be check for, I'm going to paste it, check for left diagonal, and we are going to write that code and check for the left diagonal. And next one will be check for the right diagonal. Okay, RIGHT. Okay, so this is how, this function is going to work, and it's going to return the winner. See that? So we're going to have 4 different cases. We are almost done with the rows and columns, but we need to run it, right? We need to check whether we're getting the winner in case of columns. So let's do that. I'm going to compile first. Okay, it worked fine. Now let's see 0, 0. I'll go. We'll check for the first column first. And maybe this time O is going to pick up the first column. No, not first row actually. I need to give him, okay, let him pick 0th row only, but he's going to pick the first column. Okay, next I'll go to 1, 0. So that is the X. And this is going to 1, 1. Now let's see what happens if I pick 2, 2 and 0. Okay, so we don't have the winner. We don't have the winner because see, we got the situation here where we have all the access, but somehow the logic is not working. So let's see what's going on. We need to debug our codes. I'm checking for the columns. So first, obviously, it's going to move into check for the rows, and it's going to, or maybe let me debug this code and I'll come back to you just to save some time. Okay. Okay, so I got the problem. I did some debugging and some testing of this code. So the problem is we are returning the winner. So always, case 0 is going to get executed. We are going to check for the rows and we are returning the winner. Even if in case of rows, we didn't find the winner, right? Maybe the winner is not X, not O, it's question mark. So we are returning that question mark always. And that's where this case, so we need to execute all the 4 cases and we need to return the winner at the end of the code. So that's what I have found out till now. So we're going to just remove this return statement from here. So we're going to return we're going to run through the case 0, check for the rows. We're going to run through the column case 1, and finally when we are going to have a winner, we are going to return it here. So I did some testing. Let's do a compile and let's run it. Now I'm going to pick 0, 0. The X came here. Then I'm going to pick 0th column and 0th row and first column, where the O is playing, right? Now I'm going to pick first and 0. O is going to pick first and the first position. Okay, now I'm going to put some value which will make X win. So that will be 2 and 0. See that? X wins. So this seems to be working fine. Let's test for the other scenario also, where if our rows case is also working fine. I did test that part actually. So 0, 0. Okay, this is working fine. 1, 0. This is O. Okay, 0, 1. Okay. Next will be 2, 0. Okay. Next X is going to win. So I'm going to put first row, second column. Sorry, not first row, first row. That is correct. But the second one. Okay, so I think this scenario is not working. So I need to do more debugging because this is the area. I mean, we found all the access, but this is not working. So let's do some more debugging and I'm going to fix this part. Okay, so I found out after doing some debugging. So I'll explain it to you. So what is happening here, we are running case 0, case 1. I mean, all the cases we are running one by one. So say suppose first we are going to run the case 0. We are going to check for the winner in the rows case, right? And say suppose I got the winner, right? Even if I have the winner X or O, I'm still going and checking for the winner in columns also. So there is one more condition which I need to put here. If we have the winner, right? if we have the winner value, right, we don't need to play the game, right? We'll just straight away return the winner. So I'm going to check if winner is X, or if winner is O, we're just going to break the loop. Straightforward. We are just going to break the loop because anyways I'm going to return the winner. So we just need to copy and paste this same code here. Again, I'm doing the copy and pasting. Maybe I can write a function for this, but let's keep it for now like this. So now if I compile this and we can check for the same situation, the same scenario, we'll run through it again. So I'll first check for the columns. 0 0. Okay, it's going to pick 0 1. I'm going to pick 1 0. Then it's going to pick first and first. Now I'm going to make X when, so that will be 2 0. This is that X1. Again, let's run it. I'll check for the rows. So 0 0. Okay, now O is going to pick 1 0. Good. X is going to pick 1 1. Sorry, 1 0. 1 0 1. O is going to pick 2 0. And now I'm going to make X win. So I'll pick 0 2. See that? X wins. Now this is working fine. Finally, I think we have the solution here after some goof ups, right? And that happens when, because I'm trying to live code this. I tried this before, but this time I'm changing my code also. I'm making a more readable and more functional kind of code I'm trying to write here. So each time, it's a good idea to write your code again and again. That gives you a new perspective to write your code. So I'm going to stop here. Let's have a quick pause. Even I need a quick pause here. And then we are going to handle our third case, which is for checking for the left diagonals. Let's do that after a quick break. Welcome back. Now let's check for the second last. I mean, we just have to handle two more scenarios now for checking the winner. The next one is checking for the left diagonal. So we can have a scenario where, we can have the access something like this. I'm calling it a left diagonal, and then there will be a right diagonal also. So here, like it is starting from the left, that will start from the right. I'm going to consider the same way. So we need to, the most important part here is we need to identify the for loop, right? What loop we are going to run here. So can you see the pattern? See the loop pattern here, right? So we need to see the X for 0 0. We need to see the X for 1 1. We need to see the X for 2 2. Very simple loop pattern. So we are going to run just one for loop, right? Because the values are same. So we don't need to run, I don't think so we need to run any nested loop here. Only single loop is going to help us because the values are same. I and J's are same, obviously. So why you need a nested loop in this case, right? So let's see, and we are going to run the loop, and again running the loop, and we are going to check if the winner has all the X and O's. If the winner is X, return X. If the winner is O, return O. Otherwise, question mark. We're going to do the same logic, right? I'll go back to my Visual Studio Code. We're going to check for the winner, check for the left diagonal, right? So maybe I'm going to just copy and paste an entire code from here, this one, right? Let's copy and paste, and then I'm going to remove the part which is not needed, right? So I'm going to check for, this is left diagonal. Okay, left diagonal, and this function name I need to replace. Let's do this first. Function logic, we're going to run just one loop, right? So I'm going to just remove these steps for now and maybe keep concatenating this part we will need. So I'm just going to run a loop for checking diagonals. Maybe I'll write something like this, and the rest of the things are going to be the same. Check left diagonal, we have declared the winner variable, right? This time I just need to run, so I'm going to just remove this part and write from scratch. So okay, let's take the help of loop. So this, I just need to run one loop till board.length, and that's how it's going to work. And here we're just going to use our board, sorry, winner plus equals to, we need to use our board, and I and J both are going to be same, right? That's how this loop is going to run. Just look at the pattern. It's really easy. The pattern is 0 0 1 1 and 2 2, right? So that's what I'm using here. The loop will start at 0 0 0 I actually 0 0 1 1 and 2 2. So we are going to get the winner, right? Something like that. So we got the winner. The local winner may not have been initialized. Okay, so we will just initialize it here itself as an empty string. And finally, we need to check whether we have all the x's or not. This I'm going to copy and paste. So maybe after the for loop, we're going to check winner has all the x, return x. And that's the logic, right? We need to do now. If we have identified the loop, check if winner has all the x or o's. If winner has all the x, return x. If winner has all the o's, return o. And if winner is else, return question mark. And we are returning the question mark. Pretty simple, right? And we did it within a couple of minutes. So we are getting faster now. We are going fast basically. So let's run it. Let's see if it works. Otherwise, we need to debug this. And if it doesn't run, if you're writing the code with me, you debug by yourself instead of watching my part, right? How I'm debugging. I was thinking of keeping the debugging part also in the part of the video, but sometimes it takes 15-20 minutes also. And I don't want to keep you guys watching that. Maybe I'll try that sometime. So let's compile first. Let's run it. Let's for the diagonal. Okay, so 0 0 x is here. Now O is going to play something like this. Okay, now x is going to put is going to take first row, first column. Good. Now 2 0. This is how O is playing. I'm going to pick the second row and second column. Okay, so this is not working as expected. So I need to debug because we have a winner, right? 0 0 1 1 and 2 2. That's let me try to debug here only what is going on here. Okay, I didn't call the function actually. Okay, I just remember I didn't call this case. Okay, I got it. So I need to come back to my case here. I need to put the case actually. That's why it is not working. So let's do this. Just have a case number 2 here where I'm going to call for check for the left diagonal function. We're going to have the same thing. I'm going to save and it's going to format my code. Now let's break, clear the terminal. Let's recompile and this should work now. 0 0. Okay. 1 0. Okay. 1 1. It's going to take 2 and 0. Now let's take 2 2. See that X wins. Now let's try for the other scenarios also. Let us see if it is working or not. Like it happened previously. Let's check for the rows only. So 0 0. Okay, this is working fine. 1 0. I'm going to take 0 1. Then 1 1. Okay, I'm going to see 0 2 now and X wins. So this is working fine. Let's check for the columns also. So I'm going to run again and 0 0. Fine. 1 0. Okay, I need to pick the other column now because I have picked the wrong value. So I'll take 0 1. Okay, and O is going to pick, say suppose second row 0th column. Okay, I'm going to pick first row, first column, and O is going to pick 0 and 2. Okay, I'm going to pick second row and the first column and X wins. So I think all the scenarios are working, all the 3 scenarios are working, all the 3 cases are working. Let's have a quick pause again, come back, and we are going to handle the last part of this video where we're going to check for the right diagonal values. Welcome back to the last part of the video where we're going to solve the fourth case, where we're going to check for the winner, and this is for the right diagonal. So we need to do this, check right diagonal for the winner. So if we have O's in a right diagonal, O is going to win the game, or if we have X in the right diagonal, X is going to win the game. So you just need to find out the pattern here, right? So see the loop pattern. You just need to look at the loop pattern. Once you have the loop pattern, I think it's going to be really easy to solve this particular case. So we have like, let's start with the row and column. So the first one, first O is at 0, 2. I've written here. Second O is at 1, 1. And the third O is at 2, 0. So you see the pattern here. So do you think you need a nested loop here? Just think about it. Do you need a nested loop, or we can solve this particular problem with one loop only? There is some kind of pattern you can see here. Obviously, we need to run a loop only 3 times, not not like a nested loop 9 times, something like that, only 3 times. And there is a pattern which you can identify here. We can do some addition, subtraction, some kind of mathematics, and we can uh, solve this particular case. So let's do that. And once we solve this for loop, right, we will do the same thing again. We'll check for the winner, the X and O's, and we will return question mark if we don't get a winner. Okay, so this pattern, right? 0, 1, 2. So obviously I need to run a for loop from 0, 1, 2. So I'll go back to my code editor now. And obviously I need to write a function. So there will be a case number 3 here. So let's write it down, the case number 3. I'm going to save, and this time I'm going to check for the right diagonal. So let's write that function check right diagonal, which is going to return me X or O. So this function I'm going to write at the end. So let's copy and paste all of this function body. And I'm going to change it to check right diagonal, right? I'm going to remove all of this for now. Later on I will add it. So we are going to check for the right diagonal. The logic will be run a loop for checking diagonals, right? Declare winner variable, same thing we need to do here. Okay, so let's first run the for loop. So I need to run a for loop. I'm going to run one for loop only, that is with I. Why this left came, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to run for the board.length 3 times. But if you look at the pattern here, right? So we need 0, 2 first, right? 0, 2, then 1, 1, then 2, 0. So for that, I'm going to create another integer variable here called count. And I'll start the count with 2. If you look at here, we are starting with 2, right? Then 1, then 0. So I'm just going to decrement that counter here. And we can declare the winner, right? So winner plus equals to, we're going to use the board. And my I will be I. Obviously, I need to take I because I need 0, 1, 2. But in the case of J, I'm going to use count. Right? And I'm just going to decrement my count by 1 in each loop so that I can have this pattern, identified, and my case should be solved. So that's the only important thing, you need to solve in this case. Now let's copy and paste this part because this part is getting repeated in every case. So let's copy and paste this one, and I'm going to keep it here. Same. So let's test for this scenario, but I need to call it, right? So we need to just add this case. Probably I have added this case already. Let me see. Yes, I have added check right diagonal. We are calling that function and we are checking for the. So let's run. So first of all, I'm going to compile. Okay, so diagonal. So I'm going to say 0, 2. Okay, O is going to take the 0, 1. Okay, now X is going to take, say, first row, first column. Okay, O is going to take 0, 0. Now X is going to take second row and the first column. See that? X wins. So I think this is working fine. Let's test the game for other scenarios also. So I'm just going to play the game, in a random way now. Let's see. I'll just pick the random spots, maybe something like this, and let's see who wins. I'm going to say 1, 1. Okay, X got it. maybe 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, X got there, then 2, 1. I'm playing randomly. Okay, let's see what happens. 1, 1. Okay, spot is taken. I'm going to take 1, 2. Okay, let's take 2, 2 and X1. So this is the scenario where, left diagonal case was executed and we got the winner. Let's start with 1, 1, 1. Okay, then it's going to take 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay, let's take 2, 2. Okay, O came here now. That was good scenario actually. 0, maybe 0, 2. Okay, to take 1, 0. Okay, let's take maybe 2, 1. Okay, the X came here. We need to check for one more scenario where the game can be a tie. And I see that in this scenario, the game is going to be tied. So I'll go with 2, 0. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to put X at first row and the third column. You see that game tied. So even the game tied part is also working fine. So I think the game is working fine. But I would suggest, I'm going to put this code on GitHub. Just download it, play it, try to write this entire code by yourself and try to execute all the different scenario, play with your friends also, and let me know if there is any bug in this code, right? There is a possibility, there is a bug in this code. Maybe you can let me know on the GitHub also, right? There's an issues panel and you can raise an issue. So I think that's it for this video. It's a long video, but whatever I have committed, right? So we have written a lot of code, like almost how many lines? I think we have written 255 lines of code, but this is a really good project. I mean, this is not more, I can't say this is a beginner level. This is more of a beginner plus project. Writing a tic-tac-toe is not an easy job, I can say. I had fun writing this code. I mean, live, I'm just recording live, something like that, but I'll upload this video later on. But I think you had the same thing, right? Writing this code. If you have written the code with me, then only you're going to enjoy this video. If you have just opened the video and just watched, okay, first 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and then you have closed the video, then I mean, it's not going to help. So if you have only watch the video, then it's going to help somewhat. But if you have coded with me, then you're an awesome person, I can say. So what we have learned, right? So I did a lot of things, right, in this video. Let's go back. So I have committed about some goals or some objectives in this videos, right? So we have learned 2D arrays, we have learned loops and nested loops, right? We have learned function, how to write function, switch case. Yes, we have used case, scanner class also, and logic building. That is a very really important part. We have built lot. So 4 different scenarios we have handled. That's a logic building, and that I like that part of this video. I also thought of different ways of solving this problem. So there are multiple ways of solving those cases. I picked one of the option. You come up with different option, maybe a better option, to solve this particular problem. So with that, I think I'm going to stop. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, you take care. Goodbye. And thanks for watching the video.